Testing 1 2 3. Hi everyone. I hope you're ready to learn a little bit of English this morning. Welcome to this live English lesson about forgetfulness. If you're here, then obviously you didn't forget to come. So let me just check a few things. We'll get started in about 29 seconds. Let me make sure that everything is working. Yeah, I think everything's working good. Everything on my screen in front of me says that we're ready to go. If you didn't know, my laptop is right here in front of me when I do these live streams, so I can see what's happening. We'll start in about 8 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this English lesson about forgetfulness. Forgetfulness refers to those times in life when we forget to do something, when there's something we're supposed to do, and for some reason we don't remember to do it. Or there's something that we're supposed to bring, or something that we're supposed to have with us, and we forget. We don't remember to bring that item or to have that item with us. So all of us, I think, are forgetful. Some people are more forgetful than others, but forgetfulness is definitely a very common human characteristic. That would be the word I would use to describe it. I am a forgetful person, and I will describe in this lesson as well the things that I forget from time to time. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about forgetfulness. Before we get started, just want to say, yes, I'm wearing a t-shirt. I do have to go to work today, but school has ended. Regular classes are over. Today is a different sort of day. Students will not be at school. So I will be a little less rushed. And that's why this lesson is at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time instead of 7:30. We're back to what I call our normal time for Friday live lessons. I hope that this time slot works for all of you. It's much nicer for me because I don't have to get up as easy. Hey, thanks to New Words for the sticker. Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate the support. Hello to everyone in the chat. Hi to Yaroslav and John and everyone else who is here today. Jocelyn, Hilal, Alexandra, Marcia. As I scroll back, Vitor, Freddie Wolf, Cecilia, Lolly Lolly, Eugene from Automation is here, but I think he's actually in Orlando, and he's heading out today to go to Disney World. Very cool. Have a good trip, Eugene, while you're down there. Hi to Yarrow, who can't stay too long. Sorry about that, Yarrow, and everyone else. Hi to Sophia. Thanks to Dave, the Canadian, for being here. Hi to Wanda as well. If I missed your name, I'm sorry. This isn't a live stream where I say hi to everyone. Maybe I should do one of those in the future where it's just a live stream where I just say hi to people in the chat over and over again. Yarrow says, don't forget to do anything important. Yes, don't forget to do the important things today. Hi to Brent from Speak English with This Guy. He's here as well. Brent, I was laughing quite a bit at your lessons, not in a bad way. The lessons where you had a different language dubbed over your voice. I think those were members only videos, but they were quite entertaining. In the Portuguese one, your voice was very sexy voice. That's what I would say. Very nice voice, whatever voice was overlaid. Anyways, summer vacation has almost begun for me. I do have exams next week and the day before. And so I made a little note on my calendar that my friend's birthday was the next day. It was on Wednesday. So yes, a birthday, it is not a good thing to forget. It's not good to forget someone's birthday. People can be a little bit upset if you forget their birthday. My birthday's coming up in a month or two. I never say exactly what it is, but I will maybe when it's closer to my birthday remind you that my birthday is coming up, and some of you can then say happy birthday to me. But yes, not nice to forget someone's birthday. It's always nice to remember a birthday. Your keys. This is the most common one for me. Now, actually, I can't find my keys right now. I forgot to put my keys on the desk. I'll grab them for a sec. Oh, that was kind of funny. I didn't do that on purpose. My keys. Now, this is a pretty minor thing to forget because when I forget my keys, I usually have just walked out to my van, realize I don't have my keys, go back in the house and grab my keys. But keys are a very common thing for people to forget. Probably one of the most common things for me to forget as well. In fact, as I walk out the door every morning, I'm usually saying to myself, keys, phone, wallet, rings, Fitbit, or ring, Fitbit. I want to make sure I have my keys, my phone, my wallet, my wedding ring, and my Fitbit or my fitness tracker on. So yes, keys, very common thing to forget. Let's see here. I'm just going to go to this screen for a sec. Someone has mentioned in the chat that there's some internet. Looks like it's working on my screen. Okay, I think things are okay. We'll see. Who knows? Let's get back to the lesson. Dave can let me know if there's anything wrong. To pick someone up. This is a really bad thing to do. If you forget to pick someone up, they end up waiting. Sometimes at school, a student will have a basketball practice after school, and at the end, their parents will forget to pick them up. They'll be standing there waiting, and then the coach or a teacher will say, do you have a ride coming, or is someone coming to get you? And they'll say, no, I think they forgot to pick me up. So it's very important that you remember to pick someone up. If a friend of yours says, can you pick me up from the airport when I come to visit? It would be really bad to forget to pick that person up, but it does happen, yes. To mail something. So this is something I forget as well quite often because I don't mail things in the regular mail very often. I usually just email things to people. If I need to send someone a message, I email them. So when I do have to actually mail something, I usually forget to put it in the mailbox. It's very easy to forget that because it's not something that all of us do regularly anymore. So sometimes you forget to mail something. I still have one place that I have to pay for farm stuff, and they like me to mail them a check. I can't pay them online, so often I will forget to mail the check to them. To repay a debt. So again, if someone loans you money, if someone gives you $20, they expect you to repay them. That is a debt. You owe a debt to that person. So if you borrow money from someone, if they loan you money, if you borrow the money from them, you see the difference in loan and borrow. So if they loan you money, they expect you to repay that debt. It's very awkward if someone loans you money and then you forget to pay them back. You might be having a conversation with them at another time and they might just seem very awkward or not very nice to you. And you're like, oh, I wonder why they aren't being nice to me. The reason might be because you forgot to repay the money you owe them. You forgot to repay a debt. This might be something you forget to do when you get older, and that's to take your pills. I'm on a couple medications because of my heart, and I take 2 pills at night. But sometimes I forget to take my pills. When you forget to take your pills, it's not a good thing. It's not a big deal for me because my medication isn't super important. But yes, sometimes people will forget to take their pills. My mom has a special container like this with the days of the week on it. And she takes a few pills, normal pills that old people would take. And so she will put her pills in for each day. And then she can see at the end of the day, if there's still pills in the Tuesday little box, she knows she forgot to take her pills. To turn off the oven or stove. Now, I did a lesson. I've done lessons on mishaps and mistakes. And this lesson does overlap those two just a little bit. One of the things I talked about in that lesson is forgetting to turn off the oven or forgetting to turn off the stove. When you leave your house, it's important that you turn off the stove or turn off the oven. Sometimes in the morning, I will fry eggs and then Jen will say, oh, you left the burner on. That means on the stove top, I left on one of the spots where you can cook things. So it's important to turn off the oven and turn off the stove. Not a good thing to forget, but pretty common. By the way, when I was searching for things that people commonly forget, it was pretty easy to find really long lists. but I also myself could think of many of them because I think it's just human nature to forget things. So this one's pretty common, your password or PIN. So PIN is usually just some numbers. When I go to the bank, I have to punch in my PIN number. I'm going to be careful not to move my finger when I do that because I want to do you understand. I don't want to give away my PIN number accidentally. So I punch in my PIN number. It's not 111111111 if that's what you think. But often when you go to use a website or app, you will forget your password. And sometimes when you go to check your messages on your phone, you might have to punch in a PIN number or passcode. Or when you go to the bank, you might have to punch in that code. And it's sometimes something that we forget. Something from the grocery store. So sometimes I go to the grocery store and Jen will tell me what we need. She'll say, don't forget, get some milk, some bread, some eggs, some cheese. If it's more than 5 things, I will forget one of those things. I will forget to buy one of those things. So often when I go to the grocery store, if I'm buying 4 or 5 things, I will just memorize what I need to get. But if it's more than that, I make a list. So sometimes you go to the grocery store, you know you need to buy a few things. When you get home, you realize you forgot to buy milk, or you forgot to buy eggs, or you forgot to buy cheese, or whatever the item is that you forgot. I do this one every once in a while. I do forget things like that. And then someone's name. This happens to me quite a bit. I have taught a lot of students over the last 22, 23 years, almost 25 years. Yeah, that's crazy. When I run into a student later in life after they've graduated, maybe it's 10 years later or 15 years later, sometimes I remember their last name, but I can't remember their first name. Don't know why that is. I think it's a pretty common thing for teachers. So I can remember their last name. Oh, your last name is Smith. And so usually what I do is I just say, sorry, it's been so many years, I can't remember your name. And then they tell me what their name is. But yes, a very common thing to forget would be someone's name for sure. Very, very common. Hey, let's do some questions. Let me get a sip of water here and check my audio. By the way, I will talk about the things that we do to help ourselves remember once I'm done talking about the common things that we forget. Vitor, I forgot my question today. Sorry, Bob. So I'm assuming that Vitor is making a joke. But yes, sometimes you can think, oh, I'm going to ask Bob a question. And then a bit of time goes by. Maybe you get distracted. And then you're like, I forgot what I was going to ask. Next question from Ruslin. Hello, the coolest teacher, Bob. How are you, sir? I like the sun and the sunflowers. Very nice. No questions today. I just want to thank you for your useful and nice lessons. Best wishes. You are very welcome, Ruslin. Thanks for hanging out and learning a little bit of English. Let's see here. Renata, hi. Have you ever forgotten to pick up your kids from school, or did your parents ever forget to pick you up? Have a great day and thank you for yet another useful lesson. Yes, both of those items did happen to me. One time the bus came and our kids didn't get off the bus. So Jen and I were home. The school bus came and it drove by. It didn't stop at our house. And we were like, where are our kids? And we called the school and the school said they're not here. And we were panicking. Then the school called back 5 minutes later and said, oh, they are here. They were playing outside. They thought you were picking them up. They thought we were going to visit Jen's parents. Our kids thought we were going to visit Jen's parents. So they, instead of getting on the bus, they waited at school and we didn't know. So that was crazy. And yes, my parents sometimes forgot to pick me up and it was about a 5-kilometer walk home from school. So I would just walk home. Yeah. There were no phones back in my time, like cell phones. So it was hard to communicate. Axmed, hi, Teacher Bob. Give me some tips to not forget my lessons that I study at university, like how to read and remember. Take notes, make flashcards, study with people, talk to people in a study group about the things you just read, all of those things, when you put some knowledge in your brain, you have to use it in a few different ways in order for you to remember it. By the way, hello to the 304 people watching. Awesome to have all of you here at this English lesson. Thanks for being here. And feel free to chat in English with everyone in the chat and enjoy learning a bit of English. And subscribe if you are interested. Next question from Nema. Hello, dear Teacher Bob. No question today. Thank you so much for your great lives. They are fantastic, sir. Wish you the best. You are very welcome. In fact, I don't have it here. Oh, I have it right here. I got this really nice letter. Let me see. How can I share this? I don't want to share. It's like, I'll just hold it up here. It's a letter from a class of students in the Czech Republic. And it's from their teacher, and there's a picture. And then it's the class standing in front of a screen, and I'm on the screen because they're watching my video about superheroes. So it's from an elementary school in the Czech Republic. Thank you so much to that class for sending me that. That was really fun to see a bunch of little kids who learn English from me. So anyways, thank you for that. I do get really nice postcards and letters from time to time. It's really, really nice. Anyways, I was reflecting on that because I did the lesson on superheroes, and it wasn't a very popular lesson. It didn't get a lot of views, which I don't really care about, but I do look. And it was cool to hear that it was their favorite lesson at that school. Totally makes sense. Okay, Rebaz. Hi, from Kurdistan region in northern Iraq. Dear Mr. Bob, most of the time you pronounce my name the wrong way. The transcription is Rebaz Dargalia. I'm probably still saying it wrong. I will look at that later, and I will practice the pronunciation, and I will get it right. So sorry. It might be Rebaz. Rebaz? Am I saying Rebaz? I will get it right. I will figure it out. Thank you for the instructions on how to pronounce it. Let's see here. Afia is, hey, Coach Bob, as I get older, I forget things more often. Yes, that is definitely something that happens. For example, when I shower sometimes, I forget if I've shampooed or not. Haha, I might need to see a doctor for a checkup. No, that's pretty common. I've had a shower many of times and realized later that I didn't wash my hair. It depends how tired I am when I have the shower. Let's see here. Freddie Le Français, hey Bob, how are you doing? Did you ever forget to put on your shoes when you went to work? No, but I did put on the wrong shoes once. I wore my running shoes with dress pants and a dress shirt. It was kind of strange. Or cake in the oven. Yes, I have forgotten stuff in the oven and burnt it. A pen behind your ears. Yes, I've sometimes had a pen behind both ears. What Freddie is referring to is sometimes people walk around like this. One day at school, I was walking around with a pen behind both ears, or a pencil behind one and a pen behind the other. Glasses on your head. I have not had that happen. Maybe once, where people will, oh, I'm getting all tangled up here. People will do this. They'll be like, where are my glasses? I might have actually done it once during a live stream, forgotten that they were on my head. All very common things that people forget. Thanks for sharing those. Let's see here. Unforgettable. The second word is not a word. It's unforgettable. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day. Forget the sad things. Yes. Sometimes it's good to forget some things, right? But yes, when something's unforgettable, it's very memorable. Like, oh, when the team won the championship, it was unforgettable. It's very memorable. Dear Teacher Bob, does loan similar to lend? There's a word L-E-N-D. And yes, you can loan someone something or lend someone something. So L-E-N-D. From Matthias, the problem is when you forget your roast inside the oven. Yes. There's nothing worse than overcooking or burning something. Not very, very nice at all. Real quick here, and we'll get back to the lesson. From Majed, I want to know the difference between British and American about pronunciation of the letter R in words like forward and toward. I don't know if there is much of a difference, but I say it forward. I drive my car forward. I drive my car towards, I'm adding an S there, a slightly different word. I drive my car towards town. There you go. The questions are stacking up. So I'm going to go back to the lesson and then back to the questions in about 10 minutes. Let's do that. Let me have a sip. Let me say hi to the 323 people watching. I feel like a few more people watch during this time slot. Maybe it's a little easier for people to make it here. Someone's name, yeah. A word. Now, this happens to me when I'm speaking French. It even happens to me sometimes when I'm speaking English, where I can't think of a word. This is the dictionary entry for the word dictionary. But if I was talking and I might say, so the other day I was looking up a word in the, the book with all the words in it with the definitions. And then eventually someone might say dictionary. And I would say, yeah, in the dictionary. So sometimes you will have this because you are English learners. You will have it where you know that you know the word, but you can't remember the word. Does that make sense? Like, I know the word for bicycle in French, but I can't remember it right now. I think it's either bicyclette or vélo. But anyways, sometimes you forget a word. Sometimes you forget what day it is. This actually happened at my work a few weeks ago. I won't say who. One of my colleagues forgot what day it was. It was a Wednesday. They thought it was a Thursday. So sometimes you just simply forget what day it is. Today is Friday. If I was really busy and if I didn't sleep well, I might wake up and not remember what day it is. I might say to Jen, what day is it today? And she would say, oh, it's Friday today. You have a live stream. You better get up because it's time to do your live stream. So yes, sometimes you forget what day it is. Sometimes you forget your glasses. Sometimes, as we heard earlier, you forget them on your head. You do this and you don't know where they are. I only use glasses for reading. And sometimes when Jen and I go to a restaurant, I can't read the menu if the print is really small. And I'll say, oh, I forgot my glasses. I don't have my glasses with. My sister told me that you can get a little card that works like reading glasses that you can keep in your wallet. I should probably get one of those. But sometimes you forget your glasses and then it's hard to see. This one is rare, but this used to happen a lot. A long time ago, it was important to remember someone's phone number. We didn't have phones where the phone remembers the phone number. You had to know someone's phone number in order to call them. So when I was a kid, if there was someone in my class who said, hey, give me a call later, maybe we can ask your parents if you can come over tonight and call me if that's okay. So I would need to memorize or remember their phone number. Nowadays, it's so much easier. I don't even know my sister's phone number. Like, it's on my phone. I can call one of my sisters or my other sister whenever I want. But if you said, what's your sister's phone number? I would have to look on my phone to find it. When I was much younger, I would just remember people's phone numbers. It was just something you did. Sometimes you forget to pay a bill. And then whoever you were supposed to pay might send you a letter in the mail saying that you forgot to pay your bill. It's important to pay your bills. This is actually a hydro bill. In Ontario, we call electricity hydro. And the company we get electricity from is called Hydro One. This is not my hydro bill, by the way. So when you receive something from someone or a service, you need to pay the bill. So often you will get a bill in the mail. Sometimes you can pay the bill online. Sometimes you can send a check in the mail. But sometimes you forget to pay the bill. Not good. You should always pay your bills. Sometimes you forget to lock your car. So interestingly enough, I forgot to lock my car the other day. I went to the local arena to go for a walk and I left my wallet in my car and I forgot to lock my car. Thankfully, nothing bad happened. I was very happy when I came back, when I realized that I had forgotten to lock my car, my van actually. I was really happy that my wallet was still inside. So sometimes you forget to click the little button to go beep, beep, to lock your car. Beep, that's the sound effect for today. It's not a good thing, especially if you have valuables. In English, we often refer to the expensive things that you might leave somewhere as valuables, your purse, your wallet, maybe your watch. If you leave that in a car, we would say you left some valuables in there, things that are worth something. To turn off the lights. So when you go to bed, you don't need the kitchen light on. You don't need the living room light on. You don't need any lights on, so you should turn them off. It costs money to leave the lights on. But sometimes I get up in the morning and the kitchen light is on because one of my children has forgotten to turn off the lights. Turning off the lights saves you a little bit of money. It's just silly to have lights on where you don't need them on. When I was a kid, I often left the lights on and then my dad would get mad. Now I'm the parent, and when my children leave the lights on, when they forget to turn off the lights, I get mad. By the way, you can flip this phrase. You can say, it's important to turn off the lights. You could say, it's important to turn the lights off. Both of those work in informal English. But if you want to save a little bit of money on electricity, it's important to turn off the lights. This is something I forget to do, and this is why I don't have houseplants. I had a tree or a plant here, and we had to move it to a different room so that Jen and one of my kids could take better care of it. I didn't forget to water it, but it didn't get enough sunlight. So I should mention that. But sometimes people forget to water their plants. When you forget to water your plants, the plants die. Sometimes people think, oh, I'd love to have a lot of plants in my house, but they're not good at taking care of plants. And so they forget to water the plants, and then the plants die. Sometimes people forget to put on deodorant. So deodorant is something that you put in your armpits. When I'm done having a shower in the morning, before I put my shirt on, I put on deodorant. Some people also wear something called antiperspirant or antiperspirant. They're both similar. Deodorant, I think, just smells nice, and antiperspirant stops you from sweating. But if you want to be a pleasant person to work around, especially if you work closely with other people, it's important to remember to put on deodorant. When you forget to put on deodorant, sometimes by the end of the day, you don't smell very nice. And then if you are like me, if you are someone who burns very easily when they're in the sun, some people don't, some people do. I happen to burn if I'm outside for more than an hour in the summer. So it's important to put on sunscreen. Sometimes though, I forget to put on sunscreen. Last year, I played baseball with some students. A class was at the local park, and the teacher said, when you're done work, come and play baseball with us. And so I went, and it was 3 o'clock, and I forgot to put sunscreen on, and I got a burn like on my scalp. I'm not going bald. I don't have a bald spot, but somehow my hair was really short, and I had a sunburn on my head. It was very painful because I forgot to put on sunscreen. By the way, you can also say sunblock or suntan lotion. All of those work. This has happened to me sometimes because I don't go to the city a lot. Sometimes when you park your car in a really big parking lot or in a really big parking garage, if you don't look for like a sign that says what section you're in, sometimes you forget where you parked. I had this a few weeks ago. I went to Toronto and I parked my van in a parking lot, and then I took the train into Toronto. And when I got back that night, I kind of was like, where did I park? So I was looking and looking and looking. Luckily, my van is bright red. So eventually I saw my van. But sometimes you forget where you parked. Never fun. Because for a brief moment, you wonder if someone stole your vehicle. And then eventually, hopefully, you will find it. To return something. So this is a picture of someone returning a library book. If you borrow something from someone, it's important that you return that as well. Sometimes people will borrow tools from other people. Maybe you go to your neighbor and say, can I borrow your saw to cut wood? And then it's important to return the saw. When you borrow a book from the library, it's important to return the book. Years ago, when you could rent videos, because we didn't have streaming services, you needed to return the video. And sometimes you forget. If you forget to return a library book, you will get a fine. Although in Canada, they're pretty lenient now about fines. A fine is when they charge you money for forgetting to return something. But when I used to rent movies, there was a big, you just paid more if you forgot to return it. Your passport. If you are going on a trip, it's important that you have your passport with you. You don't want to be at the airport and then remember or realize that you forgot your passport. This has never happened to me. When I travel, I'm pretty thorough. I try to make sure I have everything. Now, I haven't actually left Canada since 2018, I think. It's been a while. So my passport has expired. I need to get it renewed. But so I forgot to renew my passport. Oh, I didn't make a slide for that. Forgetting to renew something. Yeah, that's a big one too. Remember that one. Sometimes when you go on a trip, you forget your passport. Sometimes you forget to renew things. So a passport expires if you don't pay money every 5 or 10 years. And I have let mine expire. I forgot to renew it. Hey, let's do members only questions. Let me pull those up on the screen. Let's go to members only mode. If you are a member, you are free to ask questions directly in the chat right now. I almost clicked the wrong button there. That would have been bad. I think I almost ended the live stream early. That would have been a bit funny. I will keep answering questions from here. Let's see. From Fabian. So once the members' questions start showing up, I will answer them. By the way, thank you to all of you who have green names and crowns in the chat. Those are the members, if you were wondering who members are. Thanks for being members. You guys are awesome. Hi, dear Teacher Bob. I'm so happy to see you again. Thanks for this amazing English lesson. I have a question. May you tell us, in this case, I would use can. Can you tell us some phrasal verbs related to forgetful? Oh, I don't know. I'm trying to think right now. It slipped my mind. That's not a phrasal verb. It's more of a verb phrase. But when you say something slipped your mind, it means you forgot about it. Yeah, I can't think of it. Maybe in the chat, people can put a few. Hopefully, some people can think of some. Let's see here. Naboru says, hi, I always forget some words sounding similar. Append, apprehend. I always come across in novels, and every time I see these words, my brain stops. Yes, it can be tricky, right? Like through and thorough and throughout, all of those words, tough, they kind of all look the same, but they have different meanings. So, and append and apprehend as well. So, by the way, when you append something, it means you add it. So when you append something to a letter, you add another page. And when you apprehend someone, like the cops can apprehend a criminal, it means similar to arresting them. From the chat, we have Lolly Lolly. I've never forgotten to take part in your live lessons. Lolly Lolly, I think, has the record for best attendance and longest running member and longest running viewer. I would say she's in the top 5, if not number 1 for that. So thank you, Lolly. For being a very, very, very consistent student. You are awesome. Wanda says, hi, Teacher Bob. When I was young, I used to study a lot, but sometimes during the exams, I couldn't remember the right answer to the questions. It was big trouble. No question today. Thanks. By the way, your comment is easy to read. Or sorry, your comment is written well. I just don't have my reading glasses on. So I wasn't pausing because of your English. I was pausing because the words were blurry for me. Freddie Wolf says, today, if I ever had forgotten the start time, I would have had a second chance to be on time though. Mais comment oublier cela? Ce sera impensable d'oublier une leçon de Bob. Excellent. But how would I forget that? It's impossible. It would be impossible to forget one of Bob's lessons. Yes, this was a good method. When I do the live stream an hour later, then if you forget or you don't realize the time change, you can still watch it. When I go the other way, if I do a lesson earlier, then people miss it. So it's unfortunate. So tu as raison, Freddie. Exactement. Key Park, sometimes I forget a person's name. That was embarrassing. It is, especially when you realize you should know their name, right? Like sometimes you're embarrassed because maybe you just talked to the person a month ago and you've already forgotten their name. Lolly says, thank you, Bob. No, thank you, Lolly, as well. Anna says, we had rainy days these couple of weeks, but it cleared this afternoon. Oh, talking to Hafiz. Yes, we have had rain here almost every day. We went from it being very, very dry to it raining almost too much. It actually rained again this morning. So, but it looks like we'll have a week of sunny, warm weather. New Word says, what is meant by risk bearing in simple terms? Yeah, that's tricky because risk is whenever something has the possibility of being dangerous or causing harm. Like it's risky to go skydiving. It's risky to ride a bike without a helmet. There's risk. There's the potential, the possibility that something might happen. So when something is risk bearing, it might mean that it's less risky I don't know exactly the term. I know what risk is, and I know bearing means to carry it. So it must mean to carry the risk. I'm not overly familiar with the term though. Let's see here. Question from the forum. Let me get it on the screen. Julie, forgot to turn the oven off for 5 days during vacation. Luckily, the pot is durable and everything is okay. We've done that, not for as many days, but we have been heating up soup and then had it heat up for hours, and it just turned into this black mush at the bottom of the pan. Dave says, I forget names within just a week sometimes. It's hard. I like it when I go somewhere when people have name tags on. That is very, very helpful. It's one of my, I love the hello, my name is Bob. I like when people have name tags. It's very, very nice. Hey, we're going to switch back to the lesson. If members have any more questions or comments, please do leave them. I'm going to have a sip of water. I'm out of questions from the forum, so we're going to wrap this lesson up in about 10 minutes. And then I will finish answering questions as well, if there are any more. Let me just turn off members only chat. By the way, thank you, members, for being members. You guys are awesome. If you are someone who's considering membership, there is a button somewhere that says join. If you click it, it will explain a little bit what happens. You get a crown beside your name during live streams. Your name is green. You can participate in members only chat. You get an extra video on Wednesdays where I just talk about life. And also, if you're looking for practicing your English, having one-on-one conversations, in the description, there's a link to a website called Preply. And if you follow that link, you'll be able to find an English tutor. You will have to pay money, but that might be something wise for you to do as well. Cecilia says, thank you so much, Bob. I love this topic. No problem. It's a great topic. I'm enjoying it as well. I like the topics where I find it very easy to talk about. Sometimes it's hard to think of examples, but this one is very easy to talk about. And let me go back up. Freddie Wolf says, imagine a family which travel by car, stops on a highway rest area, and then forget one of the family members, for instance, the stepmother. Was that a movie? I don't know if that was a movie, something like that. But anyways, yes, stop, take a break, start driving again, realize an hour later that you left someone behind. That would not be very nice. Okay, let's get back to the lesson. To take out the garbage and recycling. So here we have garbage day on Thursdays. It's important that we bring the garbage and recycling to the road so that when the garbage truck comes, it can pick it up. By the way, we say garbage. In some places, people say trash. Some people say waste maybe, but here it's usually garbage or trash. So on Wednesday night, Jen and I put the garbage together. We put it by the door of our house so it's ready. And then we have to remember on Thursday morning to bring the garbage out. It's bad to forget to take the garbage out because then you have to keep it for another week because the garbage truck only comes once a week. By the way, even I have a garbage truck come to my house out here in the country. It is wonderful. Most of what we get rid of though is recycling and compost. The amount of garbage we throw out is very, very small. Most of what you buy in Canada now can be recycled, paper, plastic, all that. And we do compost all of our banana peels and potato peels and those kinds of things. So we actually don't throw out very much. And by the way, it is called garbage day. If someone says, is tomorrow garbage day? Yeah, tomorrow's garbage day. So like Brent in the chat said, my trash day is Wednesday. So Brent obviously calls it trash day. But yes, we would say garbage day is Thursday. For Brent, trash day is Wednesday. Don't forget. Oh, okay. A few ways that as humans, we help ourselves remember things, ways to not forget. And those are called reminders. I need to leave myself a reminder, or I'm going to need a reminder. That means someone or something you do helps you remember. So let me talk about a few of those. Write it on a calendar. This is pretty common for my family. In our kitchen, we have a really, really big calendar, and everything important gets written on the calendar. One of my kids has a job now, so they write on the calendar the days that they work. They have exams coming up. So on the calendar, we have their exams. I don't write a lot on the calendar. Like if I have a dentist appointment, I write it on the calendar. If I have a doctor's appointment, I write it on the calendar. But definitely one of the best ways to remember something is to write it on a calendar, somewhere that's really, really visible, somewhere that you can see it when you walk by. No one does this anymore that I know of, but sometimes people in the olden days would tie a string on their finger so they would remember something. Let's say in the morning, you know that you have to meet a friend at 3 o'clock. You can tie a string on your finger, and then whenever you see the string, you will remember. Again, no one does this anymore. I have not seen anyone. But what I have seen is students sometimes write stuff on their hand. They'll write something on their hand so that they can remember. So that's probably more common. I don't think very many people tie strings on their fingers anymore. But I thought I should mention it because it is kind of a funny thing we say in English. Oh, tie a string on your finger so you remember. I do this a lot. You can send an email to yourself. So I will often email myself and I'll leave the email unread so it's at the top of my inbox so that I can remember something. So this to me is just a very, very good way for me to remember stuff. I'll email, like get groceries after work. I'll email myself and then it will be at the top of my inbox. Very handy. Make a note. So there are a lot of ways to make a note. You can make a note and pin it on a board. You can make a note on a piece of paper. Sometimes just making a note helps you remember, but definitely writing something down on a piece of paper. Sometimes I will have a piece of paper in my pocket. I'll make a note and I'll have a piece of paper in my pocket. And then every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, what's this paper? Oh, yeah, I have a dentist appointment later. And we do have, let me get this slide. We do have what are called Post-it notes or a sticky note. So a Post-it note is a piece of paper that's sticky at the top. So you can stick it on the wall or on your computer monitor. Post-it note is what we call the name brand. And you can also buy what are called sticky notes, which is just Post-it notes not made by, who makes them? DuPont? I don't know who makes Post-it notes. Let me look that up. Who makes Post-it notes? 3M. Okay, yes. Sold in more than 100 countries. Well, you guys probably know what Post-it notes are then, and they're probably called Post-it notes in your country. Make a list. I mentioned that sometimes I will write something on a piece of paper and put it in my pocket or in my wallet. I'll often do this before I go to the grocery store. I'll make a list. I'll make a list of the things that I need to get. Sometimes when I have a really busy day, I'll make a list. I actually have a list here. This list is basically paying the bills. It's like pay Joe, deposit check, pay for crop insurance. So basically this is pay the garage, which is where I get my car fixed. So sometimes you have a list and you use that list in order to remember things. I do that quite often, especially if I'm tired. I'll make a list. Set a timer. So when you cook something or when you bake something, it's good to set a timer. But Jen and I actually use timers for other things as well. My son has a job. He's done work at 9 o'clock some nights and 8 o'clock other nights. So sometimes after supper at 6 o'clock, we'll set a timer to go off 15 minutes before one of us has to go get him, just so we remember. You can set a timer on your watch, possibly. You can set a timer on your phone, or you can just use a kitchen timer like this. But setting a timer can be a great way to remember things. When it goes off, you remember what you are supposed to do. You might use Alexa or Siri or Google Assistant or Google Home. You might say, Alexa, can you set a timer for 2 hours from now? I think my Alexa just said something. I just said her name twice, right? But we have these devices, some of us in our homes. You can use them to set reminders and to help you remember things. And then maybe you use an app. I don't use an app. I know some people use apps to make grocery lists. Some people use apps to remind themselves of things. I don't do this, but I know it's very common. I know in the grocery store, sometimes people even have their grocery list on their phone. I still use paper for that because the paper doesn't need to turn on and off. And actually at our grocery store, my phone doesn't have internet access and the store doesn't have really good Wi-Fi. So I like to rely on paper. Hey, that's it for the lesson. Let me finish up by answering some questions for you. I do want to say hi to the 365 people watching. That's awesome. If you're new here, don't forget to click that red subscribe button. Let's look at how many questions I have left. Just a couple. Let me get those on the screen. If you still have a question, please fill it out. From Awad, I want to prepare for the IELTS course. So if you want to prepare for the course or for the test, I would say the course is where you study multiple times, usually with a teacher, to get ready for the test. So you're probably doing that already. And then when you take the test, hopefully you are prepared. But I would say this, take a prep course, use the link to Preply below to find an English tutor who specializes in helping people get ready for that test. And then you can buy some study materials online. All of these things cost money, but there are certain things along the road to learning English where if you want to go work in an English-speaking country or go to school in an English-speaking country, you will have to spend some money to get your English to a great level. So that's what I would say. Ian says, hello, Bob. Is it correct to say I forget when you forget something? Okay, so here's how you would say it. If I'm talking about something I forget regularly, I would probably say this. I often forget my keys at home. I often forget my lunch. So I'm going to use forget. But if I'm talking about something that's just happened, if I'm at work, I would say, oh, I forgot my lunch at home, or I forgot to go to my dentist appointment. So again, when speaking about something that you repeatedly don't remember to do, like, oh, I forget my lunch on Thursdays, or I always forget to go to my appointments. Because it's a repeated action, you would use forget. But when you're talking about one thing that's already happened, like I forgot to drink water. That was a bad example, but anyways, that's how you would use that. That would be my description for you. Hey, that is all the questions. That is all the questions from the chat. Let me go back and look for some members. Post-it notes are really useful, says Cecilia. I love them because they are colorful. That's the other thing. They're color coded. Let's see. Too many notes kills the notes. A lot of notes. Freddie says, bon dia, speaking. Oh, I see Freddie and just talking to Brent. There we go. I think we're going to wrap this up, everyone. I am going to head off to work. I'm done on time, but I'm not in a rush today. There's a big difference between going to work when class starts at 9 a.m. And going to work when you have no classes and you can just arrive when you need to. I just have a couple things to do at work today, and I'm actually not even required to be at work, but I do want to go in because I have to do some photocopying and some other stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you learned a lot. This lesson will come out in a shorter format in a couple days. I will remove all of the viewer questions, and it will be about a 25-minute lesson, start to end, about forgetfulness. It is important that you watch that at least one more time, or at least listen to it one more time. I don't say this. Someone in the comments once said, Bob tells you to watch the videos twice so that he gets more views on YouTube. That's nice. I do like getting more views, but learning a language is about repetition, and it can be very valuable to listen to something again. So I often recommend this. Listen to this lesson again. You don't have to watch it, but listen to it while you cook, while you ride the bus, while you're on the treadmill. Maybe you're running along, listen to it. You can watch it as well if you like the visual reference, but it is a good idea to at least once or even twice watch something again. So, and I do thank you for doing that, even though it helps you, and it does help me a bit too. I'll be honest about that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Bye to Vitor, Freddie, Key Park, Hafiez, Lolly, Cecilia, Ralph, Anna, Brent from Speak English with This Guy, few other people, Ruslin, Wanda. I'm going to scroll back. Irina, thanks to Dave for moderating the chat. And I think I'm just going to wrap it up there. I think I'm going to just say bye to Key Park and then say bye to everyone. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, by the way. I do enjoy knowing the fact that there are a lot of people watching. It is kind of fun to look up and see that there's 360. That's a lot of people. So anyways, thanks for hanging out for an hour.